But today's event is about helping you explore how product management can transform your career and how the King's program provides the tools to succeed. With the help of our panelists as well, we'll uncover how the Product Management Career Accelerator can help you build the skills, confidence, and connections to thrive in what is a burgeoning profession in product management. We'll get insights from our panelists. We'll hear real stories of transformation, the program details that I'll touch on now, and an opportunity for you to ask questions, as I mentioned. Firstly, though, why do King's and Fourth Rev partner on this? The partnership between King's College London and Fourth Rev brings together the best of university education that is globally recognised and industry practices designed to deliver these career accelerators, a learning model that is purpose built to fast track, be it your career advancement or your change of career into product management in this case, obviously. These career-focused online programs equip learners with a deep and varied knowledge, practical skills that I'll touch on in a moment, and recognition required to unlock tangible results in the job market. Our whole North Star metric as an organisation is your career outcomes or career outcomes that we measure. In support of the goals of the Career Accelerators, events like this one were created to inform and inspire potential learners about their field of interest. For those of you that aren't aware, the career accelerators are designed in true partnership between King's and industry. So we facilitate that design process by engaging industry leaders to understand what it is that employers are seeking first, and then couple that with the academic underpinnings that King's are so renowned for, particularly with their digital humanities faculty. And that does attract a broad range of learners from different parts of the world. It is made up of 3 courses and one live industry facing project at the end. It's a 6-month program with around that 15 or so hours per week of flexible study. When I say flexible study, there is a delivery component that is live with your facilitator each week. Those sessions are live, but are also recorded if you can't attend live, but always best to if you can. And then there's the asynchronous component making up the majority of those hours per week, where you can choose, therefore, how study can fit in with your life as opposed to being caught in that rigid university timetable. So many of our learners are working full time and doing their studies along the same time. That does require commitment and sacrifice, but also the rewards are there at the end. So 3 courses and 1 industry project. Course 1, product management and strategy. That runs for 6 weeks and a week's break. Before product design and development, again, 6 weeks. Launching products to market. So you can see we've gone through the whole process of ideation to launch. Before then, those learning outcomes that are extremely practical in their nature, as there's no exams, enable your participation in a live industry-facing project at the end. To frame that very quickly for you, yourself along with 4 or 5 other high-caliber learners will meet with one of our industry partners, such as Sky, DocuSign, or others, who'll present to you a real product-related challenge that they currently experience. And as a team, and through the application of learning from your first 3 units or courses, we'll come up with innovative and tangible solutions to that scenario, presenting your recommendations and innovations in which to overcome that challenge in a consultancy-style presentation at the end. It's a real cornerstone of the Career Accelerator model, and the benefits are numerous in that it's practical application of learning, as I've mentioned. It is also a brilliant networking opportunity, both more deeply with your peers that are so diverse in their backgrounds, but also industry. And lastly, if you are seeking progression of your career or a change of career, it is a much more powerful demonstration of your value to a prospective employer to demonstrate how you've worked on a real project with industry than it ever would be, say, to recite an exam result or something similar. The Product Management Career Accelerator is also now containing an additional component of a capstone project that will award a level 7 postgraduate certificate qualification as well. And I'll take some questions or provide some more information on that a little later as well. It is aimed at postgraduate level, the Career Accelerator. So the entry criteria is that you've either completed a bachelor degree or have relevant 2 years of professional work experience in lieu of that. The costs are £6,000. That includes everything, and including the career coaching that we'll touch on. That's such an important part of helping you obtain the greatest return on your educational investment that you can. But also, we make that accessible in a number of ways. Firstly, there is a reduction of £450 if you elect to pay up front, or we have monthly payment plans that don't have any interest, be they 6 months or even longer. The best thing you can do is, if you haven't, is speak to your enrolment advisor about how that may fit in with your budget, but also how that is going to provide you a tangible return on your investment. The next intake commences on Tuesday, the 22nd of April. There is a 2-week onboarding process before you get into the learning. Applications are still open, although limited. And the application process is really straightforward, and we'll discuss that. It's a matter of uploading your transcript from your degree or your resume or both. And if you haven't spoken with an enrolment advisor, a discussion surrounding what is best for you follows or precedes that as well. We'll get an answer within 24 or 48 hours of your admission, and then introduce you to the success team who will set you up to succeed in the Career Accelerator. So I'm happy to take any questions all throughout the session. Just a reminder, pop them in the Q&A function, as some have already done. But next, it gives me great pleasure to now welcome our panel for today's discussion. Welcome, everyone. Justin, Polly and Mayo. Great to see you all. Thank you all for so much of your time. It's much appreciated. I'll get you to do a quick introduction. And I don't mind me saying our VIP attendee on this occasion might be Polly. So I might ask Polly if she can attend, if you can introduce yourself first.
VIP, I like that. Hello, everyone. I'm Polly Dallywell. I'm COO at an organisation called Enterprise Nation, and I've taken this course. I did it last year. It took up a lot of my time last year, but probably one of the highlights of my 2024 was completing and graduating from this course. So yeah, I'm here to answer any questions. So please do share, because I've been in your position this time 2 years ago. So yeah, please do share any questions, and I'm here to help.
Much appreciated, and very excited to hear your insights and how you've gone post the program as well. Mayo, welcome. We're all from different parts in the world as well, which is most interesting on this webinar. Thank you for your time, and I know your enthusiasm is going to inspire many, but a quick background from yourself.
Thanks so much, Daniel. And I was going to mention that I am in South Africa. And that's one of the amazing things about being a part of the Fourth Rev community, is that you get access to people all across the world in countries that you probably never even thought of. And one of the people I'm coaching, for example, is in Nepal. And that was really exciting for me. So anyway, back to my intro. So I'm a career coach at Fourth Rev, and I really focus on helping people center themselves in their careers. I think one of the things that we do when we start out in life is we're trying to figure out stuff, and we think that the answer is always out there somewhere, right? And sometimes we fall into careers that really don't align with our strengths and our values, etc. So at Fourth Rev, we're really passionate about bringing it home so that you're at the center of your career, and we really enable you for success in terms of the career coaching that we do. It really is a transformative process that you go through with us. And it's all about helping you get to where you want to, and more importantly, helping you become who you want to, because those are two completely different things in terms of our individual passions as well as individuals. All right, that's me in a nutshell.
Wonderful. Thank you, as always. And Justin, welcome again as well. Great to have you on board, and a little bit of your background will inspire those in attendance, no doubt, as well.
Yeah, sure. Happy to be here. My name is Justin. I am a product manager here at Fourth Rev, so I look after the King's programs, which includes product management and product design. My background is in product design, research, service design, product management. I've been in the product space for over a decade. And then I'm also a lead facilitator at King's and Fourth Rev. So I actually, these days, am not facilitating that much on the product management course, but I'm managing the facilitators. I actually do some of the marking. I was trying to remember if I marked Polly's assignments, but I don't think I did. But yeah, I'm really happy to be here and to share what I can about the course, and to learn from Mayo and especially Polly, so I can keep improving our program for everyone.
That's wonderful. So for the audience benefit, we've got Polly, our alumni, first-hand account of the Career Accelerator. Justin as the facilitator and convener of the program from that direction, providing that industry trends and insights, and obviously the career coach give insights into the program's personalised support and the powerful role of coaching. So lean on that. You've made a wise decision in attending today. Feel free to jump in with as many questions as you can, and we'll get to them, as I mentioned, as well, as people are doing already. Just to frame a little, let's set the scene, I guess. Product management. It's continuing its increase in demand. So there's been a 140% increase in demand for product managers in the UK as of 2022, and that's not showing any signs of slowing down, with the digital transformation still occurring across so many, not only businesses, but also products. There aren't, there's still many physical products, but so many more physical products now have a digital element as well, such as a can of Coke with a QR code on the side and a digital element to that. It's becoming more and more prevalent, and hence the need for the skill sets that this program provides. 81% of hiring managers struggle to find product managers with a mix of technical and soft skills. And that's so important when we design the content, is that the employer feedback we received was that employers need not just those that can understand and iterate the product management cycle, but to have the business impact and the knowledge of how it impacts business is the critical element in they feel what's been missing previously. Now, this program has been running for over 3 years now, and the success stories continue that we'll hear more about, obviously. But people are drawn to these types of roles for a number of reasons. It's borderless. When I say it's borderless, there is amazing opportunity and flexibility for remote and hybrid work. There's the creative element, the strategic and diverse nature that the PM role provides. There's healthy earning potential and opportunities for further growth. Jobs are available across a very diverse range of industries, products, and sectors. And there's future opportunities in consulting or entrepreneurship, as a question alludes to, that I'll touch on in a moment as well. So it is continuing its increase in demand and is a very attractive option for those seeking to make their transition into the digital economy, especially. Pardon me. Let me just check the next slide. Hang on 1 second, I've just lost this slide here. But some questions for the panel first, and I might start with Justin, if that's okay. Are you able to give us an insight into the program structure and the key tools or frameworks and how it relates to what's in demand with industry, as I just mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you did touch upon it quite well at the very beginning. So I think the most important thing is to reemphasize what you talked about in terms of this course being project-based. So we do have one main project that you are working on throughout the entire course until you get to that employer partner project at the end. And the idea is that in this project, you're doing real-life activities to face a challenge that a business is facing. So essentially, we've set up a fictional scenario where you are a PM at an indie movie streaming startup, and you've been tasked with trying to achieve certain goals and metrics and solve problems that the company is currently facing. And so you get a chance to optimize the product and create new features. It's quite complex, as Polly knows. So you get like certain data points, constraints to work with. You have team members that you're working with. But essentially it breaks down into 3 parts, which mirror the course. So you're learning concepts as you're working on the project. So in course 1, you're learning and reading, but you're also performing your competitor market analysis. You're like identifying your target segment. You're going to define the proposition of the product that you are putting together. You will ideate. You will do a lo-fi prototype, and then you get to concept test it, which is an important thing product managers are doing. And you take it back to your stakeholders, and you do, like, at the end of every course, you do a video recording of a presentation to stakeholders as you would in the real world. Then in course 2, you translate your idea into what we call a minimal viable product, which is basically the minimal product that that you can put out in the market that adds value to users, and you can gain feedback, which is what product managers do, so they don't waste time building like something very complex that people don't want. So you will develop a roadmap for your minimal viable product. You will develop a mid-fidelity prototype. You'll actually do some real design, which isn't normal for product managers, but we believe it's really great to give you insight into what one of your key team members, the product designer, will be doing in real life. So you get a real feel for what that is, and you'll present a product demo of that back to your stakeholders. And then in course 3, it's all about bringing your product to market. So what does a product manager need to do to bring a product to market? So you're crafting marketing strategies, product positioning, stakeholder comms, establishing success metrics. You're doing quite a lot, and these are all things that you're going to be doing in the product space. And then I won't dive into the employer project because I think you led that quite well, but you will have a chance to work in a team-based environment on a similar type project, but for a specific employer, for a specific problem they're facing. And we've had some really big employers like Sky and DocuSign. So yeah, we teach quite a lot. It is a 6-month of like strong learning. They're broken into 4 courses of 6 weeks each. So there is a lot of content that we do teach you to set you up for success as a new PM.
Which is excellent, and it all is underpinned by the academic rigor that Kings are renowned for. Thank you, Justin. Mayo, can you elaborate a bit on the coaching, I guess, program and how it sets learners up for success? There's certainly some questions will come to from the audience already about job seeking post the program, but the career coaching, what does that look like for a learner and what's the benefit?
Sure. Before I get into that, I just want to check in with the audience because all I can see is the screen you're sharing and the 4 of us. So I'm feeling a little bit lonely. So if I could please ask the participants to just please type in the chat which city you're closest to or which city you're in, just so that we can get a sense of where you are and just for a bit of engagement as well, so that we don't feel so alone on the panel here. I see London. I'm sure most of you are in London, which is great. Awesome. London, Birmingham, Coventry, Swindon. All right. So mostly in the UK. Thanks for that. Not feeling so alone anymore. So coming back to the coaching, it really is set up in such a way that it fits into the program of the course itself, and also according to the requirements of the learner. So we give you a minimum of 6 coaching sessions, which start at a specific time. And then from there onwards, you have access to your coach as and when you meet the coach. And it's for 50 minutes. So each session is 50 minutes. And it kicks off with an introduction and really talking about your goals, understanding your personality, your aspirations, career drivers, etc., etc. Because we really want to give you a tailored experience as opposed to just saying, okay, let's talk about your CV, let's talk about the personal brand, etc. So depending on what outcomes you want, we will then suggest to you that these are the topics that we need to focus on. And we also spend a lot of time talking about your transferable skills. That's something that's very important, especially when you're considering a career switch. It's about understanding what value do you have within you right now that you can take into the next role that you're going to go into. And I saw in the chat earlier, if I'm not mistaken, there was a question around product design, product management, entrepreneurship, which one is best for me? So it's in a session like that where we would discuss if getting a full-time job is better for you in terms of your context, as opposed to going for an entrepreneurial type of setup for you. So the essence of the coaching really is about tailoring it to what it is that you need and engaging with you in such a way that it makes sense to you. So if you need coaching more frequently, there's flexibility within the program to do that as well.
Fantastic. And it's so inspiring for us to see the actual eventual outcomes resulting from the learning and the coaching. It's so inspiring. Polly, sorry, it's been a little while. What was your experience of the curriculum and course design? Any highlights you'd like to share?
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Yeah, Justin just brought it all back to me, just going through each of the modules there. One thing I would say, and I want to say this up top, if you're 75% like, yeah, I want to do this course, I would just go ahead and do it, because I was umming and ahhing for 2 months. And I say this with no commitment to King's or Fourth Rev. I say this as an individual who wanted to progress my learnings in product, and I was in a slightly different space, but I ummed and ahed between King's, product school, other courses as well. And in the end, because I am based in London, I know the kind of background of King's and what it brings on your CV. And actually, when I look now at new jobs, not to apply right now, there is a lot around the different organizations that they look for as well in the learnings, and King's is one of those. So there are huge benefits with studying this course with King's. In terms of, just to take a step back, I mean, you know, I was in a unique position. I wasn't doing this course to then go on to find a role. Quick story, I joined Enterprise Nation. We were a team of 5 working in a basement in Somerset House, trying to build a small business platform which matches small businesses to support. So building a product. We were very much in person, events, taking a roller banner to here, there, and everywhere. And we wanted to, in the end, get them onto a platform. So we had to build that product. Fast forward to COVID, we had about 3,000, 4,000 members. Our business had to quickly pivot. And at this point, we were only a team of 10. And I had moved from I started in sales. That was my background for about 4 years, door knocking, old school sales. And so then I moved to building the marketing and community team. And so I was leading those teams. And so over COVID, we had to pivot. We were getting more members coming through, and suddenly a kind of in-person business turned into a kind of on-platform business, but we didn't have those skills. So I learned on the job, you know, reading about two-sided marketplaces. How did Uber grow their business? How did Airbnb start? Circular economy. How do you nurture communities? All this exciting stuff. And we had to apply it on the job there and then, because we were growing in COVID as a small business. Fast forward to my role now. After I built the marketing and community teams, I then started to build our engineering team, because without features and a good product which is sticky with our users, you're not going to get kind of repeat users as well. So I started to build out our engineering team, and I landed just in this head of product role for this organization. I was kind of making it up as I went along. Currently, we have 150,000 members, signed up users. And, you know, we have a great online platform, and things are going really well. We're now a team of 50. However, the one thing I was really missing, you know, I was in this product role for 3.5 years, and then I moved to a COO role, was I didn't have the academic side of being a product manager. So I just felt like I was just fumbling my way through being a product manager. And there's 2 types of COOs, one who is into finance, one who's into product. And I'm definitely the product individual. The one thing about a product role is sales is so important. And when I mean that is whether you're selling the product to the engineers who are about to build it, the CEO who's about to sign off on the budget, or the sales team who are going to go out and sell it, those soft skills which come with a salesperson are really important. So people would always, I thought this course would be too technical and, you know, less around the soft skills, but the soft skills are super important. So if you're an individual who has a blend of soft skills but gets like engineers and key stakeholders and that stuff, I think that's super important. So I was in a unique position. I was with team members who were looking for a job straight away after this. And it was actually quite nice because I helped with their CVs, because that's part of my role as a COO. I have to review CVs every day. So anyone who needs help with their CV, I'm happy to help. But fast forward to the actual course itself, the bits that I absolutely loved was the academic side. I'm a bit of a nerd like that, but my week is all about solving problems. I work with a team of 50. I have to work with tricky clients, and that Thursday, 6 till 7 here in the UK would be that time where I was just on the same page with 30 other learners from all over the world who are just trying to better themselves in product and product management. And then we would do breakouts for 15, 20 minutes where you would kind of be given a problem, you have to solve it. How would you then communicate with each other? So that for me was like my nice part of the week, where you've had an intense week, but you've invested in this course and you're like, well, I'm invested in myself, because I see a future of where I, you know, want to get into product eventually, rather than a COO role long term. And just another point, just around the course itself. The other bits that I really liked was a career coaching. And I remember being on one of these calls and someone spoke about, and take this in the nicest way, someone spoke about the career coaching and I just switched off because I was like, that's not me. I don't need a career coach. It's, that's just a nice to have. The career coaching was one of the highlights of this course. And it's always when your expectations are zero, it turns out to be the best bit. I still talk and, pay my career coach now, who I met on this course. She guided me through changes in my career last year. And it wasn't just about, oh, so how are you going to develop your product career? It wasn't actually that. It was kind of free therapy for a long time, for 6 months. But it was such a nice relationship that me and Emma had, and we still have that relationship now. But she would ask me questions that sometimes you know the answer in your head, but you have to say it out loud. So I see the questions that come up in the chat, which, are quite funny, because on your career coaching sessions, you'll ask the question to your career coach. They'll kind of hold a mirror up. You know the answer already, but you just have to say it out loud. So for me, the highlight was definitely the career coaching. And the team that Fourth Rev and Kings have built are just so supportive. Like, I could drop Emma random questions and an email, and she would answer them all the time. So I hope that's not the reason she left, you guys. But she was a great addition to your team. But they were my highlights. But overall, I massively enjoyed the course. And I don't know if we'll touch on this, but one thing I will say is, when they say it is 10 hours a week, it is 10 hours. So I thought, oh, that must be for slow readers, but no, it's 10 hours for quick readers, slow readers. So make sure you dedicate your time and know the commitment of time as well to this course, because the more you put in, the more you will get out. That's one thing I'd always caveat with this course.
That's a really good point. The more you put in, the more you get out. And we do recommend 15 to encompass live sessions, all those sorts of things. And some weeks people do more, some weeks, as you know, people do less. But what you've touched on there is also what we see so often when surveying our completed learners. It's the value of the learning and the content that resonates, and always very closely followed is, often surprisingly for the learners, as you've articulated so well, the benefit of the coaching, and we'll touch on that a little bit more. But I do want to launch now a discussion point with the audience before we just move on, and we're going to get some more insights from Polly as well. But we'd love to know, in a poll here that we're going to put up, which of the following is your biggest barrier or challenge when considering the Career Accelerator? Is it balancing work and studies? Is it the financial investment? Is it support for transitioning into a career in product management? Or is it understanding the career opportunities that may lay ahead? We'll give it a moment before engaging with that, just to give people time to submit those points there, or their barriers or reasons. And then we'll come to a quick discussion surrounding that before we get to then some audience questions, along with some further insights as well. We'll give it another 20 seconds or so. I think everyone's mostly put their answers in, but I appreciate everyone's engagement with that as well. Here we go. So we understand that, well, from the top down, it's the financial investment that is a barrier for most, and I'll address that more in depth a little later to allay those fears, but also maybe even with the instability globally that we're experiencing, reflect on why not now might be the best time in which to actually invest in yourself to future-proof your career as well. Balancing work and studies is always a really, really important consideration. Understanding career opportunities was next, following support for transitioning into product management. I might ask the panel, I guess, stemming from those responses there, is there anything that stood out for you or that you'd like to address?
Yeah, I'm happy to kick off. Financial investment, it's of course an expensive course. I had to double think, and that's why I was umming and ahhing which courses could I go for. And to be honest, I was doing a lot of free courses on Udemy before this. But you see the value within your first few weeks, I would say, from this. the structured learning and the check-in points every Thursday with my team, with a course instructor, was super important, because you can do a lot of free courses, but you actually don't know how well you're doing other than doing a quick test of 10 questions. And then everything's always gearing up to this, how we're going to use it in the real world. And my course project was with Sky, the real life project, and it brought everything. It kind of all flowed really well. So every week I would see the financial investment was, I mean, I would say personally, the first couple of weeks I was like, yeah, I'm so glad I did this. And I had saved up for it and committed to it. I actually asked my company not to pay for it, because I think when I invest myself, I'm more likely to be even more committed to doing my best on this course. So this was a personal investment for myself. But if you're working for a big corporate, you know, I had team members from Slack as an organization, PayPal, and they said their companies have invested in it. Yeah, lean on your L&D teams if you are at big corporates, because they're always eager to recruit within, and take you to your next career development, and invest in a course like this. So yeah, it's hard for me to say when I don't know everyone's financial positions, but I would say I saw the value in the first few weeks, so it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, very good point, Mayo.
No, I deeply appreciate people's different financial positions and deciding to make such a big investment. But it always boils down to the quality and the value of what you're getting. I mean, like anything in life, if you go for the cheap option, then expect cheap results, right? So with this program, what I really love about it as well is that it's not just the academic rigor that we keep talking about, but it's something that literally transforms all of you. Like what Polly was saying with the career coaching was like, oh, okay, whatever, I'm just going to do the academic. But when you really lean into the career coaching, it gives you lessons that you're going to carry. It gives you mind shifts that you're going to carry for the rest of your life. And you can't really put a price on that. So just something to reflect on in terms of the longevity of the value that you get out of the program.
Exactly. And appreciate that, as well as the audience's input. We'll tailor some of what we continue with surrounding the results of the poll as well. I did want to touch on one thing with Justin just quickly, because it is critical in an ever-changing landscape that AI is a consideration with any product of this nature. Are you able to give us an overview of the importance or impact of AI in product, or more so the importance of how that is included within the learning for the Career Accelerator?
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of ways to answer this question. I guess I'll start with what we include in our Career Accelerator. I think hopefully, Polly, it might have been launched during your cohort, but we have an AI masterclass learning track, which is a 4-part series where we dive into an introductory to like the technical concept of AI, like how it works from a technical perspective, which we think is important for product managers to know. Then we dive into how AI can make your work more productive. You can be a more productive product manager. Then our third, and I think one of our most crucial classes, because it's one of the biggest, if not biggest, growing area within the product management career space, is we teach you how to manage manage AI products or integrate AI products into your business. This is like one of the biggest growing roles within product management is AI product managers. And if you're not an AI product manager, but you're managing a product, you should be aware of like how you can add AI to your product, like how does pricing work? We talk about that, technical aspects. And then of course our final class is on how to become a thought leader in AI. So how to continually improve. So that's what we teach, and it is very important. I think the reality now in the job space is it's not necessarily like a requirement or being asked in a lot of job roles. So like I was on LinkedIn just last month looking at product management roles from big companies, Google, Airbnb, Monzo, Deal. None of them listed AI in their entry or like junior level product manager roles with 1 to 2 years experience. I think there is an assumption that you are using it to make yourself more productive, as in kind of any role within the workplace these days. But what will happen in the not too distant future is like AI is going to commoditize and replace a lot of engineer work, and the PMs are going to be the ones responsible for what goes into the product, what the company should do, how AI executes what we want them to do. They're not going to let AI, even post AGI, I think, human loop is still going to be needed, and the product managers are quite critical there. We can already see what's happening now is that automated task and AI capabilities are happening. So it places even more importance on the other skills of product managers. So your strategic acumen and like making sure you're adding value to the product, to the customer, and your soft skills, like being able to, communicate within the business. I think those are going to all be elevated and even more important as AI becomes more regular and more commoditized. So yeah, I think the last bit is like starting to understand the risk of AI too is important for product managers. So we touch upon that a bit. I'm not just talking like security risk and data risk, but more about, are you able to control the AI's response to your products? We all know, Daniel, we've talked on previous calls about the airline that their AI chatbot told the customer a wrong thing about their flight and promised a refund or something along those lines. And it was completely false data that the AI quoted from like T's and C's, and the person sued the airline for millions and won. So like there are a lot of risk with AI products, and it's important to understand that. But I think it's a good thing for the product management role, AI. I think it will be tougher on some other roles like engineering and design. But product management should actually benefit in this regard.
Exactly. And it is such a critical element to understand and have a working knowledge of, and a use of the benefit there that it can provide. It doesn't remove the need for empathy and those stakeholder management skills, as you mentioned. Polly, one for yourself, and I'm working back to the front here, but what are you seeing in terms of the skills that are most valued by industry? You touched on a little bit earlier, but any expansion on what you're seeing from industry's perspective?
Yeah, I would say just to touch a little bit on Justin's point, I talk a lot around the topic of AI. We went through a whole transformation within our organization of how I can get our team members more digitally capable and leveraging AI in their business departments and trying to save time, not money, actually, just time. And I would strongly say that don't overwhelm yourself with lots of tools. Try and take it a bit by bit, test and learn, and then move on if it's not working for you. But AI's output is only good as the human input. So the human is still needed. And everyone who's saying that the human is not needed is crazy, because you still need, the Coke advert that was a AI, and a Nike one, which was all generated by AI. There was still a human behind that doing it. So we just have to recognize that human input is still there. The skills most valued. So I would take this within a business landscape at the moment, and what we're seeing, what I'm seeing as an individual as well, is the soft skills. And I wasn't saying that 2 years ago. We were looking for engineers, fractional CTOs, and everything has pivoted again in the last 2 years. So soft skills, good communication, leadership skills is also key. One thing I'm seeing in big corporates is they love this phrase, they want to see people who hit the ground running. What they mean by that is they have the confidence to ask the right questions. If their line manager is saying one thing but they slightly disagree, they're actually okay with someone working outside of that remit. So I would say if you have strong conversational skills, leadership, etc., it blends so nicely with what a product manager has to do. And maybe not so much right now in terms of this is a long term with product managers individually. Those who I've seen succeed in these roles, and I've followed a lot of product managers. I follow a lot of them on X and LinkedIn, and see their traits as individuals. Their communication style is impeccable. Everything is a matter of fact, and it's in threes. It's very simple. I went through a phase where I was trying to offload my brain to an engineer and then my CEO. My CEO was so non-technical. My engineers are very technical. As a product manager, you have to be able to communicate to different individuals within organizations. And this course does lean into this, but I would strongly suggest, if you're already in a role, or you're looking to build your skills, or jump on the career ladder, do not forget the soft skills. I can't stress that enough, because all I look for when I feel like people can learn the skills. This is why you come on this course. You can learn the skills. But if you have poor communication, or you don't always communicate the work that you're doing, that can always be a kind of red flag for people who are hiring as well. So I would say communication, leadership skills, but also stepping out and looking at the bigger picture. Sometimes, and I say this of myself as well, we're so in the detail of the day to day. What leaders really like is someone stepping out of the problem, looking at the bigger picture and saying, do you know what, here's a couple of solutions. So always try and be solution driven. That's product managers succeed the most, when they are like, I've got a problem, boss, but here's my solutions that I want to take forward to you. Can I have some budget, or can I have some team members? If you're always just bringing the problems, leaders don't always like that. So yeah, try and have it. Sometimes it's really easy to just be the person who's like, here's a problem, but try and figure out a solution as well, because being a product manager, you are constantly problem solving. I can't stress that enough. So I remember the current Uber COO, I went out for a coffee with him, and he once told me, Polly, you just need to get more comfortable with solving problems, and that's your job. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Actually, it's okay to just be a problem solver. And a product manager, you are constantly just solving problems, but that's a good thing, because you're moving the business forward. So yeah, they're kind of a handful of skills that I think are valued in the industry right now.
Absolutely. And that lends itself to so many transferable skills. And Mayo, I'm going to come back to yourself regarding that last question. If we've got a moment, I do want to reserve some time for the audience questions. Just before we do, I've only got one more for Polly. Have you got any insights into, the challenges? We've spoken about all the great parts of the program, but what are the real challenges that you experience when taking on a program such as this?
Yeah, the hours of learning that you have to commit to. So my first week I was here, there, and everywhere with my hours, and then my second week I was right, Polly, so I don't know if I can swear, but get your shit together, otherwise you're just going to fall behind. So with my role as COO, my working hours of 9 till 5 are kind of non-existent, but in a good way. I enjoy what I do. So suddenly 2 hours where I'd be spending time on the business, or out of the business, I was spending time on myself, which is a very odd feeling. So I'd get to the office 7 till 8, I'd be doing my course reading, and then I would come home early. So I didn't really have much of a social life. I'd come home early and then continue my course reading. So 2 hours a day, Monday to Friday, I would get my 10 hours of reading done. I'd be reading on the tube. That's the reality of this course, I have to say. You are doing a lot of reading, but you're reading stuff that you enjoy. Like, I read books. I try and read every single day. So instead of reading books last year, I was just reading my course content. So that bit wasn't the hard bit. It was just the time commitment. And then the courses. So one thing I would say, you're going to be working a lot in group work. And you'd be surprised, but I like working on my own, because I'm like, I know my own timeline, I know my schedule, I know what I've got to do. And it took me back to when I was like in my university days. And you really need a good group who are on the same wavelength as you. I like everything listed out. I like to see who's doing what, when you need what from me as well, what's the due date. So when you're in the course and you're working with different groups who are on different time zones, like none of us were in the same country. Some people were in Pakistan, in Spain, and we were working on different time zones for the career project, but all 5 of us were on the same wavelength that we want to do the best in this career project. So we would have 2 to 3 check-ins a week. We would have quick phone calls, a WhatsApp group. So I'd say lean into it. You might not always see yourself as a leader, and sometimes I have to be a bit mute on these calls, because I was like, I need to let other people present and lead. But if you're not always the person who puts themselves forward, just do it. Because when you're doing the career project, you never know who's on the other side of that call, who might see you shine in a way that you might not have had the chance, maybe if you weren't doing this course Accelerator. So I would just say, be committed to the amount of hours. maybe not book a long holiday. I didn't go on holiday for 8 months, and I am at the extreme of an individual because I've committed financially to do this. So I want to make the most out of it. And yeah, when I went on holiday at the end of this, I was very happy because I'd virtually graduated. And yeah, it was a very satisfying feeling, but put the time in. That's all I would say was the biggest challenge for me.
Yeah, that's understandable as well. But the rewards are obviously, as you've articulated. I'm going to jump to, and I'm looking at the time. I can't believe how quick it's gone. I apologize. I'm going to jump to some questions quickly. Someone's asked how to apply for StepX, and Helen has also asked, can we use learner loans, or would the NHS help if it was something that you can do yourself? Firstly, StepX is available to those that have submitted a successful application to the program first. So you apply for the program, and Sam will drop the link in there. Speak with your enrolment advisor if you haven't, and they'll explain the eligibility criteria behind StepX. It is available for UK and EU citizens only who are working and whose visa is more than a year post the cessation of the or the completion of the course. Helen, regarding your specific question, we can split invoices between learners and employers, and we've had a couple of learners now from the NHS. In fact, a fair few across all of our career accelerator portfolio. So in some cases, I'm sure they've been supported, but that would be a discussion between you and your employer. But we can facilitate flexibility amongst that. Just for those that aren't aware, StepX is a finance provider for education, and you have a 24-month payment plan with them. There's no interest with that payment plan. There's a £20 application fee. And off the top of my head, I think it equates to around £250 a month over the 24 months then, which makes it accessible to many more. Someone else has asked here, and I've got a question for Mayo in a moment, but someone asked here specifically, does this course equip us with skills that are transferable to start a business and also network with other teams like sales, marketing, and designers? I'll answer that quickly and say two things. Absolutely, first and foremost. And secondly, the last webinar that I hosted on this program featured a learner by the name of Mike who did exactly that. So Sam will pop in the chat a link to that webinar that you can view and understand how Mike started his own product related business, and actually has already got funding for that business. It's neat. And it's a business with such purpose. It's an accessibility product that I think is amazing. But yes, absolutely, and it's such an important part is that business application of the skills that's ingrained. So thank you for that question. But yes, to answer that question, Mayo, someone's asked here, the job market is very tough at the moment. I've been trying to land a job and it's been hard. This course is quite costly. What are the chances of securing a job after this course, and what support is there to ensure I do get the job? We're short on time, but I think that's an important one, wrapping it around the coaching and the learning as well.
Yeah, so the chances are very high, and there's a few things that we have in place. So one of the things that we do, as I mentioned earlier, is outcomes-based coaching. So with outcomes-based coaching, it's quite intense. You can get coaching sessions for once or twice a week, if that's what's needed for you to get to the place where you want to be. And then we also have this wonderful thing called sprint sessions. So in the sprint sessions, people sign up and they meet once a week, and we talk about things that are very specific to you getting a job. And it's all about taking action. So when you join the sprint session, you commit to taking action, you commit to supporting other people in the group. So taking action could look like connecting with 10 people on LinkedIn today. It could mean attending 5 networking events in 1 month. So whatever it takes to get you there. But the ultimate thing that will ensure that you get a role over and above these actions, I think, is really reframing our thoughts about the job market. Now, that doesn't mean to say be oblivious to it and act like it's not difficult, but it really is about accepting that, okay, it is difficult, and I believe in myself, and I'm going to do everything it takes to get this role. I'm going to use up the career coaching, and I'm really going to lean into the process. Because sometimes what learners tend to do is they'll start coaching later, and then it's like rush to try and get through everything because there's a month before finishing the program. But when you lean in from day one and you really show up authentically about the challenges that you're experiencing and what your growth points are, what your stretch areas are, then the career coach is better enabled to lead you to a place where you feel stronger, you feel more confident, and you feel more competent to go for those roles. I could go on, Daniel,
Yeah.
but I think that captures it.
It is, and you've summed it up so well. There's so much more that we could dive into, and I think those career sprint sessions are a game changer for so many, with that shared learning that occurs in those sessions, but those concrete actions that come from them as well. I love them.
Yeah.
Someone has also asked here, and this might be for Justin and or Polly, I'm interested in both product management and product design. How do I know which is right for me? And is there the possibility to switch between the two?
Yeah, I can answer this. I think it's maybe happened once or not at all, the switching between the two. So it's ideal to make your decision beforehand, but there are quite big differences between the two. And actually, my career, I started as a product manager before switching to UX design, and now I've come back full circle to product management. So I can kind of lay out the key differences which you should consider. I think when it comes to product management, you're looking at a much more holistic level of the business and your product. So you are still talking to customers, but you're also looking at the business strategy. You're understanding the technical side, like that you're kind of interested in how things are built. You're not like line managing people, but you are managing full teams to get work done. I think there's a lot more pressure and stress that comes with the product manager role versus product designer, because you are leading a team of people that are the individual contributors to the work. So when I say individual contributor, you have a designer who's doing the design, an engineer is doing the engineer, maybe someone for data is giving you some data analysis if you have that. You're kind of setting the strategy and the roadmap, but you're relying on other people to deliver. So for some people, they enjoy that, almost similar to project managing and being a business manager at the same time. But for other people, that can be quite stressful if you're not the one doing the actual contribution of like the engineering or the design and managing others. So if you enjoy managing teams, I think product management is much better in dealing with the stress of deadlines and releases, which comes, I'm sure Paul is well aware of that kind of work. And then with product design, you could be much more focused and honed in. You tend to enjoy the creativity of focusing on just the design. You don't have to get as distracted by, of course, you work towards business objectives and you're constrained by the technology, but you don't have to focus on that stuff. You can stay focused on the design and also speaking to users, usually through interviews. So one is more holistic, more management, a lot more stress in terms of release deadlines and business deadlines and hitting goals. And product design is much more kind of honed in and focused with creativity and users. So they're quite different. You're an individual contributor as a designer, and you're like a manager as a product manager.
And for those, thank you. And for those that aren't aware, there is another career accelerator that we do run with Kings in UX
Yep.
UI product design. If that was the question relating to that, obviously. So someone's asked also here, and I have a lot of empathy for this, but there's always solutions. My communication skills are not strong, and I suffer from stammering. Will this be a hindrance in the line of work, and how will I be supported? I'm not sure how we can answer how you'll be supported in the workplace, but Mayo or Polly or anyone, is there opportunities for someone with challenged communication skills, not only regarding the learning but the outcomes as well?
Yeah, I'm happy to start off. Oh, go on, Mayo. You go.
Okay. No, you want to take it, Polly, no problem.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you should always find a workplace which is also accommodating for the skills that you bring to the table, and even what you're calling hindrances. It's just your way of working. So one thing I would say, if you're interviewing, you're being interviewed, but you need to interview them as well. So just make sure it's an environment that you feel comfortable working in. I would just say be open, be transparent. But in the world of virtual work, there are ways around this completely. And, you know, a lot of what the product management is about is not always jumping on a call, but it's reporting up and down. So a lot of the communication that I talk about is, you know, sharing emails, sharing documentations, sharing recordings of calls. That's what I talk about. So it's not always, oh my God, I'm going to have to talk every single hour of the day. So take that burden off you. It's just using the tools in a smart way to communicate the work that you're doing. And thankfully, we live in a world where there's tools to overcome a lot of things. So yeah, I would say you might feel like it's a hindrance that will hold you back, but hopefully that makes you even more determined to kind of pursue this career. Because yeah, I used to have a stutter when I was 6 or 7. Sometimes it still comes out. So yeah, I appreciate what you're dealing with. It's not the best at times.
Thank you.
And just to add to that, Daniel, if that's okay, from a coaching perspective, is that being human is the new sexy. I'm going to repeat that. Being human is the new sexy. And I say that because to build up on what Justin and Polly were saying around soft skills, another term that I use is human skills. When it comes to things like communication skills, growing your confidence, collaboration, etc. So in as much as you have a stammer, there's so much more as well that makes you who you are. And coaching really helps draw that out of you and also develops your leadership skills, because career coaching is one thing that I do. I also do a lot of executive coaching. And one of the biggest challenges for leaders is transitioning from being a technical contributor to now managing teams of people. And again, that's where the coaching comes in. So with a career accelerator, you have access to a coach that will help you develop all sorts of skills that are related to leadership as well. So to answer your question, that's definitely not a deal breaker. It shouldn't be something that makes you shrink back, but it should be something that you own, and more importantly, you spotlight things that you're amazing at, because not everyone is good. There's nobody that's good at everything, but all of us are good at something. So it's about really understanding and owning what you're amazing at.
That's a really, really valuable point. There's a couple of questions that have still come through, and I'm aware that we're 2 minutes away from time. For those of you that do have to go at the top of the hour, make a decision or take the next step. You've done a really wonderful thing in attending today. The best thing that you can do is either apply to the program or speak with your enrolment advisor about your specific circumstances. Polly, Justin, and Mayo, if you do have to go at the top of the hour, please do so. I'll continue answering some questions as well. Malibu, I'll answer that one separately. I think down the path of project management as opposed to product management might be the consideration there, unless it's a product, but we'll come back to that. Someone's asked, can the payment scheme be beyond 24 months? That is the maximum that we do provide, but given that there's no interest associated with that, I think it's an amazing opportunity to make the course more accessible. Someone's asked, I've just graduated from uni last year and I want to take my career path as down product manager owner, but it seems difficult to find opportunities as a recent graduate. Do you think BDR, SDR is a good start for it? If I start with sales or business development, what kind of things do I prepare in order to be hired as a PM in the near future? The first thing is, I think this program would certainly accelerate your career, pardon the pun. But along those practical lines that you've asked, you're following in Polly's footsteps there, and you've obviously listened to exactly what she said. So there is definite opportunity for crossover skills there. Anything else you'd like to add, Polly?
Yeah, I was just going to say, also look at community roles. You can make, not to talk about salary, but a lot of the product is shaped by community. And I've seen a lot of our community managers, head of community, progress into product roles because they're front and center of what is being adopted by users. So BDM roles, of course, I'm a strong believer in good sales skills. I did sales for a long time after graduating as well, but also look at community roles because you get a good mix of the two.
Wonderful, thank you. And the other thing to consider, and I did this back in the day, many moons ago, is volunteering to further demonstrate your value to a prospective employer. It might be a local charity, church, a sporting club, or anything that you could be aligned with, and look at what they currently use as products, and try and get in there and improve alongside your studies and work. But that is another string to the bow to demonstrate the answer to the question, what experience do you have? Which is always going to be invaluable there as well. Great question, and we hope to welcome and help you with that. We've got a career advancer asking a question here. Will the money and time investment be worth it? Having 4 to 5 years experience already as a product manager, will it give you an edge over others trying to get a job? Absolutely, and we've seen many career advances. It's probably 30% advances that do the program and 70% changes. But Mayo, any consideration there, or Justin, in any practical examples?
Yeah, I mean, I think um, it really depends on what kind of role you've been doing as a product manager for 4 to 5 years. If you've been doing like a deep technical role as a product manager at Google or Amazon for 4 to 5 years, it might be too beginner for you. But there's a situation where there's a lot of people that might come from a more traditional, like maybe non-digital product manager role, or perhaps they fell into the role as product manager from another role within their company, and they've been doing it for 4 to 5 years, but they actually didn't learn like technically the best practice that they should be doing. So I think that's probably one of the most common scenarios we have, is someone who's kind of fallen into the role of product management and they've had no kind of formal learning or training. And then this is a chance to solidify what best practice looks like. So I think it can be really great for a lot of product managers because a lot of them haven't had formal training. Even people that come from MBAs, for example, they don't really know how to product management when they first do it, because I did that. I went from an MBA to product management, and like you don't really have a clue till you either experience it or you do more formalized training in product management.
Exactly.
I just wanted to add,
Please.
Daniel, just wanted to add, it answers this question partly and also some of the other questions. I really want to emphasize the power of your personality, the power of your perspective, your worldview, your experiences, and how they add to any role that you're going to be applying for. Because I think at times we pull ourselves back because we think I'm just starting out, or I'm making a shift, or will I really be able to make something out of this? But really owning who you are really sways decisions when it comes to interviews. And I want to share a quick story of somebody who actually completed this program. And when we went through her personality, she said that the one word that stands out about who she is that she's joyful. So I said, okay, so how are you going to bring that into your LinkedIn profile? Because you need to communicate that. So she literally put it in her headline, Daniel. She said, I am a joyful product owner. Somebody saw her profile on LinkedIn, phoned her, and said, you need to work in my company. And the young lady was shocked, like, oh my gosh, but you haven't even met me. And she says, no, but the way you communicated that you're joyful, I need more joyful people in my business. So please
Love that.
let that copy, but I'm sure everything will go well. So really, really own your personality. It's not just about the technical skills, it's also about the soft skills, the human skills, the things that make you who you are. Those are just as powerful as well.
That's a great example, a joyful example. I love the word even. Thank you for sharing, Mayo. That's an inspiration. Justin, does the project component of the course, and I'm assuming the business case examples during the course, encompass healthcare related products too? I'm a nurse and would like to pivot to PM, maybe healthcare startups, of which we've seen learners obtain outcomes in. But are there specific business case studies surrounding healthcare?
There might be a couple case studies of it, but I think the reality is that this course equips you to be a product manager in any industry. And I think the two biggest growth areas that we're still seeing is in the finance sector and the healthcare sector. And already being a nurse in that space actually gives you a leg up in addition to this course, because we haven't really talked about it yet. But like one of the things that's happening in this currently in the current job market is because the roles that people are looking for, they're looking quite often for people that have experience in that industry. Or if you have experience in that industry, it's a leg ups. And it can be really great for transitioning your career. Like if you want to work in a product management role, see if you can do that within your industry. That can be a really great way to switch. So I think you have a really good opportunity to do this course. You're not expected to, I don't think there's any specific healthcare PM programs out there. But something like this would be perfect to apply to your industry.
Exactly. Thank you. Someone's asked the remaining start dates for the year. We have 4 presentations per year. We obviously had one closer to the start of the year. We've got this one in April, July, and October. But placements for all are limited. The reason for that is twofold. We We only have a certain amount of coaches and facilitators that we can accommodate, obviously, but most importantly is the learning experience. If we were to open this up for 200 or 300 learners globally, it would, we feel, dictate that we may need 15 or 20 learners on a project team, for example, and that would dilute your roles and responsibilities. So we do cap the enrolment numbers, and that's why we have 4 presentations per year. So just to repeat, April, July, and October, already accepting applications for all, obviously, as well. I just did want to finish by saying a few things. Firstly, to the audience, well done. Thank you. You've taken a really, really positive step today by attending, registering, attending, informing yourself furthermore about what is an important life decision for many and an investment of time and money. The next step is the next step. So if you can put yourself in a mindset of asking this question, if I had my last 12 months over again, what would I do differently? And you may say all different types of things, but have that question posed to yourself in 12 months' time. Will the answer to that question be, I wish I did the program, or I'm delighted I did the program, for example? Do I wish I made the transition into product, or do I still wish to make the transition into product? That's one way of framing a decision of this magnitude, which is a life decision. Lastly, engage those around you that may be somewhat impacted by your need to sacrifice a Netflix series or drinks out on a Friday night with the girls or boys when you are studying for your future. Inform them, be proud of the fact and see the pride in their eyes when you are accepted by King's College. It's an important thing to engage, be it your loved ones, family, colleagues, friends, whoever it is that may just have to have some empathy that you're investing in yourself and may not be as readily available for the things that they're used to you being available for. Applications close Monday the 14th. There are placements available, and for those of you in attendance today, there is that opportunity of obtaining that extended coaching. I'll drop you a message regarding this, or you can expect a call if you haven't spoken with an enrolment advisor yet to explain how you can get 6 months of extra career coaching, giving you even more confidence in making that transition or advancement. And the best thing that you can do from here is not only apply if you wish to, or if you have, book a time with your friendly enrolment advisor. They're going to have a great deal of empathy for your individual circumstances as well. So well done to you. Well done also to always Sam, who puts our events together that we laud so much and we love. Mayo, thank you ever so kindly. And Justin, your insights are valuable as always, but inspirational for all in attendance as well. Have a great day. Please take that next step for yourself, and we're here to support you not only in that decision, but through the program. And we're also here to celebrate your career outcomes, which is what we love doing the most. Thank you all and have a great day.